Welcome back to our Django tutorial series. In this video, we're going to cover one of the most essential aspects of web development, CRUD operations. CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update, and Delete, and it's the backbone of most web applications. By the end of this video, you'll be able to implement basic CRUD functionality in your Django projects. Let's start with a quick overview of what CRUD operations are. In web development, Create allows users to add new data. Read enables users to retrieve and view data. Update allows users to modify existing data. Delete lets users remove data. In Django, these operations are typically handled through views, templates, and forms. Before we dive into the CRUD operations, let's make sure our app's URLs are properly set up. First, we'll need to create a urls.py file in the student's app. Navigate to your student's app directory and create a new file named urls.py. In this file, we'll import the necessary modules and create an empty URL patterns list, which will populate as we create views. This file will handle all the URL mappings for our app. Now that we've created the urls.py file in our app, let's include it in the project's urls.py file. Open your project's urls.py and add the following line. This line ensures that the URLs in your student's app's urls.py file are included in the project's URL configuration. Now, we're ready to start building our CRUD operations. Now, let's start by creating the view to handle the read operation, where we'll list all the student records. First, open your app's views.py and create the student_list view. The function named student_list that takes an HTTP request as its parameter. The query student.objects.all retrieves all student records from the student database model and stores them in the student's variable. The last statement renders the student_list.html template with the context of all students and returns the generated HTML as an HTTP response. With the view in place, let's add the corresponding URL. Open your app's urls.py file and add this line to map the URL to the student_list view. This URL pattern connects the root URL to the student_list view, which will display all the students. Next, let's create the template that will display the list of students. In the templates/students/directory, create a new file called student_list.html. This template iterates over all students and creates a list, with each student's name linking to their detail page. Begins an unordered list in HTML to display the list of students. Starts a for loop in Django template language, iterating over each student object in the student's context variable. Ends the for loop, completing the iteration over all students. Starts a list item in the unordered list to represent an individual student. Adds a hyperlink that directs the user to the page for creating a new student, student_create view. The link text is, add new student. Creates a hyperlink for each student that links to their detailed page, student_detail view, using their unique ID, displaying the student's first and last name as the clickable text. Let's move on to the read operation for a single student. First, import the get_object_or_404 function from Django's shortcuts module, which retrieves an object or returns a 404 error if not found. Defines the student_detail view function, taking an HTTP request and a student ID as parameters. The get_object_or_404 function retrieves the student object with the specified ID. If the student does not exist, it raises a 404 error. Render the student_detail.html template with the retrieved student object and returns it as an HTTP response. Now, let's add the URL for this view. Open urls.py in your app and add the following line. This pattern maps a URL with a student's ID to the student_detail view. Next, create the template for displaying the student's details. In the templates/students/directory, create student_detail.html. This template displays the details of a student and provides links to edit or delete the student. The first line displays the student's full name as a heading. It's wrapped in an h1 tag, which makes it the main title on the page. The second line shows the student's date of birth and third line shows the date when the student enrolled. Next, we have a link labeled Edit. This link takes us to a page where we can update the student's details. The URL is dynamically generated using the student's ID. The vertical bar here is just a simple separator between our edit and delete links. Finally, we have a delete link, which directs us to a page where we can remove this student's record. Now, let's implement the create operation. In your student's app directory, create a new file named forms.py and add the following code. This code creates a student form using Django's model form. The meta class tells Django to use the student model and include the specified fields. Now, we can use this form in our views to handle student data. Now, let's implement the create operation. Open views.py and add this function. Import the StudentForm class from the forms.py file in the current directory. Define a view function student_create that handles creating a new student. Check if the HTTP request method is post, indicating that form data has been submitted. Form equals StudentForm, request.post. Creates a StudentForm instance populated with the data from the submitted form. If form.is_valid, checks if the submitted form data is valid according to the form's validation rules. Form.save. Saves the valid form data to the database, creating a new student record. Then redirect the user to the student_list view after successfully saving the new student. Else, executes the following block if the request method is not post, meaning the form is being accessed for the first time. Create an empty student form instance for the user to fill out. Render the student_form.html template with the form context and returns it as an HTTP response. Let's add the URL for the create operation. Open urls.py and add the following. This URL pattern maps the create/path to the student_create view. Create and update student records. In template/student/ create student_form.html. This template is a basic form that uses Django's form API to render the necessary fields. CSRF_token. Includes a CSRF, cross-site request forgery, protection token in the form, ensuring the form submission is secure and trusted. Now, let's implement the update operation. We'll use the same form template for both creating and updating students. Add the student_update view to views.py. Finally, let's add the URL for the update operation. Open urls.py and add the following. This URL pattern maps the update/path to the student_update view. Finally, let's implement the delete operation. Add the student_delete view to views.py. And now, let's add the URL for the delete operation. This pattern maps the delete/path to the student_delete view. Finally, create the confirmation template for deleting a student. In template/student/ create student_delete.html. Now that we have all our CRUD operations in place, it's time to test them. Start the Django development server by running the following command in your terminal. Python manage.py run server. With the server running, open your browser and navigate to the app. You should see the student list page, where you can create a new student, view details, edit the information, and delete records. Let's quickly test these operations using some sample data. To summarize, we've covered how to implement basic CRUD operations in Django. We gradually set up the views, templates, and URLs for creating, reading, updating, and deleting student records. Next video, we'll delve deeper into form validation and customizing our views and templates to enhance the user experience. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.